The ragged grey clouds, the tattered remains of the storm, hurry away across the pale, late afternoon sky. The silver gibbous moon is sharp and bright, even though it is still just about daylight. Threadbare, frayed bands of gulls flicker and wheel, silhouetted against the fading day. Couples hurry past on the shining pavements, coat collars turned up. Lights are beginning to go on in the flats around, so we'd better go in before it gets too cold.
Hello, my name is Peter John Cooper. These days nobody believes in luck, that their destiny is somehow guided by the stars or some outside force. Not in these days of computers and their algorithms. But sometimes we can't help thinking that some people are blessed by fortune and sometimes others are just, well, unlucky. And sometimes we seem to see those who apparently have everything, and then it all comes crashing down, and we can't help thinking, what did they do to deserve that? Today's tale from the cliff edge is based on a true story I heard some years ago, and it's called Chance. I tried to ignore it when someone rings to say there's been a shout. They mean well, of course, but I'd rather not know. I can't actually see the lifeboat launch from here. That's round the far end of the bay, out of sight beyond the headland. 6 miles as the cormorant flies. I could watch its progress on marinetraffic.com or listen in on the Marine Band Emergency Channel, but David forbids it. He says it's unlucky. I know that's not true. He's not given to that way of thinking. It's more likely not wanting to be self-conscious when working. Yet either way, I respect his wishes and pretend everything is as normal. All in control. Reasonable. My routine is to put a saucepan of cocoa on the stove and try to distract myself with a game of solitaire, something mindless. Until an hour or two later, when David might ring just to say, in case I heard, he'd been out, but it was a lovely night and nothing much to it, and they were just hosing the boat down before putting it away. Of course, there's no danger, not now, not these days of modern high-tech equipment and satellite navigation and the high level of training they have to keep up. It's all a bit mundane. A yacht may have lost engine power and needs a tow, perhaps, or a crew member with appendicitis needs taking off a Polish freighter passing up channel. The injuries are small and commonplace. A grazed forehead when a boom swings unexpectedly across the deck, rope burns, a grazed hand. But there is one element that puts the lifeboat and her crew beyond being merely a floating breakdown truck or a marine ambulance. It is the sea. The sea causes trouble, and having caused it, it entices out the young men and women in the lifeboat to play games with it. If their luck holds, and it usually does, you're okay. If not, watch out. I finish my cocoa and turn the pages of a log I keep. Like just an old notebook from Smith's, grubby and scuffed from use, time and date and so on. Other details as I get them from the website, if I ever do. I've never told David I've got it tucked away in the back of a drawer. And inevitably it falls open on September the 9th, 1998. It always falls open there. I shouldn't really start reading it. It's got a few yellowing newspaper clippings pasted in. It's like picking a scab. Leave it. Leave it alone. But still, I will read it later. There is a line in the Bible about planting and watering and God giving the increase. Well, I did plant well. When we came down from London, Miriam and baby Bob and I, we had a good business. And it was a good place to let it grow. A nice bungalow out on Valley Road, and then with the arrival of David, an old farmhouse. Paid cash outright. A growing business, our own house, a family and a beautiful wife. Oh, we were going to do up the house, Bob and I, a project for the future when he was a bit older. Yeah, when Bob started hanging out with the yachty types, I even joined the yacht club, just for the bar, really. Somebody persuaded me out in a dinghy one Saturday, but I did not like it. That was that as far as the seafaring life for me. People were very kind to me. They understood, they said. Sad for the little brother. He won't understand, of course. But he did. He understood better than me, for all he was only a toddler. There was a memorial service and so on, but I never spoke about it. You see, I'd been expecting it. Having lost Miriam only a year before, I knew my luck had run out. And once that happens, all you can do is sit quietly and wait for the inevitable blows to fall. The local radio is churning out idiotic, harmless nighttime music. No dramatic news flashes or anything like that. Nothing on Twitter or Facebook, so I suppose there's nothing much to worry about. Well, now I've got this nice flat over here, and David, well, he's happy enough. He gets jobs around the place, delivering newspapers, cleaning windows, bit of farm work. He has friends, I think. But most of his life revolves round the lifeboat. Training, drills, courses, that sort of thing. Sometimes he comes over for dinner and we walk round the West Cliff and look at the wide open sea from a safe distance. We don't talk about Bob. But David hasn't been here for a month or two. I don't like him coming. But he laughs at me. It's no use cutting yourself off, Dad, he says. But there it is. I don't want any of my bad luck rubbing off on him. The thing about luck is not the absence of it. I saw poor people in Egypt and Libya struggling against appalling poverty and difficulties and still keeping going. Allah Akbar, they would say. Allah is good, as Allah wills it. No, it's when luck suddenly turns against you that it becomes dangerous. It's like a big dog that lollops amiably at your heels until one day it goes mad and tries to tear your throat out. It's like the sea, a storm that blows up out of nowhere. I had been scrabbling on the rocks up near the point, picking up pebbles and skipping them out over the waves. 2, 3, 4 skips each. I knew how far each one was going to go before I flung it, and I could make them go further and further, as far as I chose. What do you think, Davy, eh? The next one, 3 skips. It skipped 3 times. Course it did. I made it. The little lad chuckled. The next one, 4 skips. Do you think, Bob? Yeah, Bob was a lot older, more serious, thoughtful, but he was still caught up in the game. It skipped. He grinned. That grin of his, wise, knowing. I got carried away by my own success. The next one, 5 skips. If it skips 5 times, we will all live happy ever after. The boys both laughed in delight, and I bent and picked up the stone. It was smooth and flat, and just the perfect shape. No trouble with 5 skips. It could do 6 or 7 if I wanted. It also had a hole right through the middle. Round here they're called lucky stones. In the old days you hung them from a ribbon round your horse's neck to stop it being hag-ridden at night. And the one thing you must not do with a lucky stone is throw it away. That's throwing your luck away, they say. Now, what was I to do? The boys were looking at me expectantly, at their dad who could do anything, make it skip 5 times and live happily ever after, or keep it for luck. It was only a brief moment of indecision before I slanted it out over the water, but the hesitation must have been long enough to affect my aim. 2, 3, 4 skips. Suddenly, something made me feel vulnerable, human, and feeling it, I was. The stone smacked into the water and was gone. Misfortune is not like an illness. You can't catch it. But the reason I keep old friends away from me is because I don't want them to look down into the abyss the way I did that day. One of them might ask me what happened, and I might just tell him, and that will set him wondering, and then perhaps there is one parallel with disease. The fact that it's incurable. Once you've got it, it just keeps piling into you again and again until you can only wish that you had nothing else to be taken away from you. I've picked the scab until it's an open, bleeding wound. Launch 21:09 hours to aid the motor cruiser Albion off Kimmeridge Ledges. I can recite it with my eyes closed. And further down, crew member R.B. Fellows caught foot in line. He was trying to get to Albion and pulled into water between the vessels. Casualty recovered aboard immediately, but couldn't be revived. I make some more cocoa and scan the horizon with some old binoculars I've got. I don't know why. Far too far away to see anything. The night is never dead black when you look at it in detail. Even with a fog and lowering cloud, there is broken light in scratches and splashes, but they don't take any particular form, and nothing resolves itself into a story. Whatever game is afoot out there, I've had my last throw. I have almost nothing left to play for now. Well, thank you for listening to that tale from the cliff edge. I'll see you next week for another one. Meanwhile, as they say, be lucky.